Welcome to Heart, Cat and Soul, a podcast designed to unravel the mysteries of the feline world on a physical, emotional, and energetic level. You are more than capable of connecting with your cat, but the hustle and bustle of life and the noise in our minds don't always let us truly listen. My name is Amaya Spindola, and I invite you to join me on this journey created for you to unlock the full potential of your relationship with your cat. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Heart, Cat and Soul, the podcast that dives into the feline world from every angle, physical, emotional, and energetic. Today's topic is something many of you might be considering, getting a cat to share your life with. Maybe you're looking for a companionship, or maybe you just want to teach your children responsibility. Maybe you want a kitten, who knows? Whatever the reason, let's explore what it really means to bring a cat into your life. So let's start with the decision-making process. When we think of getting a cat, we have that emotional or personal need that we want to fulfill. Maybe, I just want a cat because I feel lonely, or, I just thought it would be a good idea to teach my kids how to have their first pet or something like that. These are often thoughts we have. But before you even start comparing breeds or imagining what your future furball will look like, it's important to take a moment and ask yourself why. Why you want a cat? Why? This initial thought usually sets the tone of the relationship that you will have in the future with your feline. So, what are we really thinking? I have to say, sadly, many of us shift our attention to the cat's physical appearance. Are you imagining a fluffy kitten with a perfect coat, or maybe an older cat with a certain charm? Maybe it's not all about the looks. Because sometimes, not always is about the looks. Sometimes we think we can shape a kitten's behavior, or that a specific breed will meet our expectations because we read it on Google. But that's where things get tricky. Sometimes the perfect cat we choose, or we try to choose with our minds, ends up not be living up to our expectations. So this is the reason why I'm doing this episode. Why does this happen? It's because we're choosing with our minds instead of our hearts. Because if we were choosing with our hearts, we will notice that actually cats choose us and not the other way around. So what happens when we choose with our mind? Choosing a cat based solely on physical traits or preconceived ideas can lead to disappointment. And this happens more often than I would like to. Maybe the cat you imagine as perfect companion doesn't behave the way you hoped. This happens because we are often choosing from a place of ego rather than connection. Again, mind versus heart. Behind many online searches about getting a car, I got confused, I'm sorry. There is fear of making the wrong choice. Sometimes we forget about adopting a cat means that it's a long-term responsibility. Some people even think they can just return the cat if it doesn't work out. But that's not how it should be. Many cats suffer because of that. It's not just something I can try, So let's try to make a better decision. So what's a cat in your life? Let's talk about what happens when you adopt a cat. It is a long-term commitment. And there are challenges ahead. But, of course, there is a beautiful part. When you move beyond your ego, you'll start to build a deep mutual relationship with them. You learn from each other and from nature itself. And if a cat chooses you, well, that's a sign. Because that's what happens when you open your heart. Usually, the cat will choose you. And it's a beautiful process. Because you forget about everything, all the physical, and you start looking them as the prettiest cat you've ever had. Because they are. And some of us including myself, believe that a cat comes into your life for a reason. They have a purpose for being with you. Some of you would say, I'm not sure if that happens. But I truly believe that, and I've seen it in different occasions for different people, and I you can see the reason why. So well, I think it's something you have to experience, right? So let's go to the practical stuff of things, right? So let's talk about 10 things that you should consider before adopting a cat. Are you thinking of adopting? I'm going to talk about also a little bit about breeds and other options, but I would prefer if you'd adopt, because we have so many cats in shelters, and they would love to have a home, and to live with a human and have other opportunities. And I think we should at least think about it. Then maybe we decide, okay, no, I want a particular breed for any reason, which is completely fine as well. But make sure that you are investing on a cat that already has a life, and already has was breed with a family with other cats, and well, it has some benefits from it, but not everybody does it correctly. So also get good information of how the cat was bred, the breed. I don't know how the word is, I'm sorry. And if it's a nice place, just go often to the breeder's house and check how the cats are, how the process is made. So if you're doing that, just be careful. And the same thing with adopting. Go to a place, visit the cat several times, give them more than one chance to so you can, first of all, you can open your heart, but at the same time, allow the cat to be more comfortable around you. Because sometimes you're going to get the cat and you're going to find that in your house is completely different than you saw it on the shelter. So give it a time. Time is amazing. Okay? But that wasn't one of the things I wanted to consider. So 10 things to consider before adopting, right? The tipping point. That's how I call it. Take the time to reflect why you want the cat and what are you willing to offer in return. You're going to get unconditional love. That has to mean something. Your cat will be your new roommate, living in your space and dealing with your ups and downs. And they will love you unconditionally. So why are you giving back? What are you gonna what's gonna be your role in this relationship? That's the first thing to think about. The second thing would be if it's your first cat. If you're new to cats and you don't really know, and you grew up with dogs, right? Maybe you think it's going to be similar, or you're going to read on the internet and you're going to find so many things that are not correct. I'm sorry to say. I would suggest you ask for guidance. You're going to do it amazing. You're motivated, and it's a great place to start. Ask for guidance. Do it right the first time, and you will have a better experience. And I don't think there is a better place, a better way to start, with somebody that's holding your hand, telling you what to do, what I'm supposed to feed, what to think about the beds. So many decisions we have to make, and we don't realize how important they are, especially if you have a kitten. Those need a lot of attention, right? So look for that. So that goes through my third thing. It's the small hairballs, the kittens. If you choose one, remember they need your full time and attention, just like a baby. Don't adopt them too young, because you're never gonna be the feline mother they need. So if you can, of course there are circumstances. But if you can, allow them to be with their mother and siblings until they are 3 to 4 months old. That's when the full development goes. And it is so important how they develop. Because I'm going to say just a little bit. I'm going to dedicate a full episode on this. But for now, just imagine that a cat develops their immune system, their all the nervous system from that beginning, those 3 to 4 months, and they will they can decide if that environment is safe or not, based on how could I, if I could decide which nipple I'm going to drink from my mother. My mother is nice. My mother is stressed or not. Is she well fed or not? My siblings, are we trying to get the right amount of milk we need or not? Colostrum, how much colostrum they get. There are so many things, and it's so important to pay attention to those 3 to 4 months, that it's impossible that you as a human can make it right. So allow them to be with their family, and allow them also to grow up even after that with another cat. You are not going to be able to teach them how to be cats, because you're always going to try to humanize them, and that's okay. But but have somebody, some other being, like the cat, and even a dog if you don't want another cat, but somebody that's in the animal kingdom and connected to nature, that can teach them how to be more similar to their species, and not us, that we are not the right example. Okay. And that's very important. And also, if you work 8 hours a day and you're going to be outside all the time, don't do it. Don't get a kitten. You can get an adult cat that will adore you either way. And also, you're not going to get to know the personality of your kitten at that age, because that kitten needs to, develop themselves. They need to develop themselves. So you maybe find like a really nice kitten, and then when they grow up, it's a completely different one than what you expected. So unless you're very experienced with kittens, and you do this and you rescue them, or like I said, there are circumstances for everything. Don't get a kitten. Okay, I would suggest that you get an adult cat, and they will never disappoint. At least that's my experience. The other thing, the fourth thing we're going to talk about is that idea we have that all previous times were better. So what I want to say with this is, don't adopt a cat because it reminds you of a childhood pet or the one you just lost. Because your new cat is not a replacement. And those comparisons won't be helpful. It won't be helpful for you, because you're not going to grieve the way you should be grieving. And the second thing is, you're going to put a lot of energy into your new cat to act and be in a certain way, and not allow them to be whatever they are. So, for example, I lost a tortoiseshell cat a couple of years ago now. Oh, it's a long time. And I wish to have a new one in the future, but I'm not ready. So I just allowed the cats to, I allowed the cats to come into my life until, I hope another tortie comes into my way. But because I love the breed, the coat. I love the personality they have. And, but, every time I see one, I can't help thinking of the one I lost. And that's not a good thing. If I bring another cat just because of it's something, that thing I want, just because I want to. Okay, so just don't. Then let's talk about the fifth thing, is about the breeds, the breed lottery. Don't go for a specific breed because it looks appealing. Think about whether that breed's personality matches yours, and that's not always going to be the case. I've seen Persian cats that are not the way you expect them to be, because, or I've seen, or maybe you don't know that Siameses are very vocal, or maybe you don't like the personality of a Maine Coon. So if you don't know about it, just don't read only on the internet. Just allow yourself to meet them. Go to breeder, find really if that's the personality that you want, and then after you find the personality of that particular breed, find the individual personality of those. So for me, it's kind of a double work. And what I'm trying to say here is that don't just look. They look nice. That doesn't work. Okay, there are a lot of other things you have to look, especially the genetic diseases that they may bring, or anything. There are so many considerations you have to look and make sure that the breeder is a good one and it's registered. And if you're gonna do that, do it right. That's my advice. I'm not gonna say, only adoption. No. If you want to buy a cat, that's okay, but do it right. Don't allow, because if you're not doing that process and you're not doing it right, you're going to be contributing to the abandonment, to the wrong breeding of cats. You're going to be contributing to things that are not so good, and then some of them end up on the shelters and other places. So please, if you're not going to adopt, do it right. If you're going to adopt, do it right as well. But then there are some other things that you cannot control. So that's my advice. The sixth thing that we have to look is, that poor thing. It's missing a leg, or or it's missing an eye, or he had some special needs. He had ataxia, or when you feel that, stop. Okay? No. Don't adopt a cat out of pity. Remember, it's not enough to give it a home. It will have special needs. You need to address those special needs. And doing it out of guilt won't create a good and balanced relationship. Okay? I know we all love those, poor things, so sad. Okay, stop it. Make sure you can afford all the special needs they have. Make sure that you're going to be able to feed them, to give them a home, and to give them the special things they need. Okay? And if you can, great. Go ahead and do it. And I will suggest that if you adopt a cat that has special needs, that you bring another cat that will teach them. Okay, that's especially when you go to a shelter, you'll find that they made a friend, and if you adopt both of them, it's best directly. Then the seventh thing, it's a large family. If you already have pets, consider that compatibility. Animal communication, can give you insights on how your new cat will fit in. I did this with my new cat, and it was very interesting, because what the animal communicator said was that it was going to bring a completely different energy, and she has. She's completely different than the two of us, the crazy ones we are. And but it is, at first it was very difficult for me. So knowing this and having that possibility to have that communication helped us a lot to understand that, okay, yeah, this energy was going to be different. All right, let's work on it. And other ways you can consider that compatibility could be, if you have a dog, make sure that the dog is not chasing cats, or make sure that you have a good enrichment of the house, so you can allow the cat to climb and escape routes to have. And if you have many other cats, make sure also that they already are a good family and you do the proper introductions. Okay. The eighth one, it's let food be their medicine. I always gonna take a little bit of time to talk about nutrition every time I can because it's basic and important. And if you're choosing a cat and you're gonna live with one for a long time, because it's gonna be a long time, eh? Yes, I'm sure you're thinking about that. Diet is crucial, okay? And cats are obligate carnivores. So always feed them a species appropriate diet. And you would ask, what is that? It's meat. They're obligate carnivores and they need, imagine, I'm going to put it simple because then you can choose, oh, well, but I want to do slightly cook or not, or raw or air dried or freeze dry or whatever. Okay, there are many options in the market and I would advise you to get good guidance. But the only thing I'm going to say is that some ultra processed foods, such as the kibble, contains a lot of carbohydrates, and cats are not efficient on that. And on the other hand, you have meat in different options, from raw to slightly cooked to air dried and that. So think about the prey they would get and how they would behave in nature. So their favorite prey would be a rat. Let's think about so that the rat has fur, has intestines, have organs, have meat, has bones, has brain tissue, right? So there are many things. And yes, when you think about that, there's no much carbohydrates. But then you think, well, but I don't feed my cat rats. What should I do? What kind of meat? And yes, what we produce for human consumption as meat usually are larger animals than that. So try to mimic, even with those different meats, creating variety, creating different sources of organs and fiber and all those things to create like a balanced diet as a how many rats a cat would eat a day. Or try to think about it this way, because I think sometimes if we get the image of what the cat should be eating, when we try to mimic, we're gonna make less mistakes than if I tell you it has to be 20% of this or that and that. All right, just think about it and then ask for guidance, because at first, especially if you're not into the different diets or different specialists, or some vets are going to be completely against the raw or the cooked food or the natural feeding, whatever you want to call it. Just ask for different voices and see what your gut tells you. Okay, but the most important part is that food is medicine. Okay, so try to feed them the best you can, always, and for many years. Okay, remember that. Don't look for costs or prices, or not that's not going to work. You're going to be saving money from other from vet appointments if you feed the right food for a long time. So let's go to the ninth, and I'm making this so long. A cat for my children. This is very common. I heard it so many times. Teaching responsibility is great. Yeah, but make sure it is shared decision with your child, because you cannot impose an animal into your child within your child's life, and then if the child is not ready, you're gonna end up doing all the things, and that creates like a stressful situation that will stress the cat, and it's not gonna be good. So yeah, okay, teach responsibility. Make sure the cat is not a gift. Okay, putting a cat into box and make it as a present, it's awful. Cats are not gifts nor dogs. Okay, it's better that you tell your children, okay, let's go and let's go to a shelter and choose a cat, and allow the kid to have that relationship that they're going to be building the next years, and very important years for your child. It's development for both of them. Okay, and that's the true responsibility. It's not just cleaning the litter box and feeding the cat. It's building that relationship, that unconditional love they can bring. So that's the true responsibility you can teach your children if you want to do that. So make them part of that decision. Make them part of the of that decision process. Explain all these steps to your kid, and that will make that will guarantee a much better relationship in the future. Make sure they visit the animal several times before the adoption. Okay, because child sometimes the children are sometimes very how do you say this, they don't have any patience and they want the immediate thing, right? Because nobody teaches them otherwise. But if you teach them how to visit the cat several times, they will get over that and choose with their hearts. Okay, it's a beautiful process if you allowed it. That's very important. And my last point is the unnecessary purchases. Most of the time I look in, the publicity I get, of course, in Instagram is cat toys and things for cats and cats everywhere. But don't go overboard with things. You don't need that much. You need to be present, and you need time with your cat. And sometimes cats are more entertained with a paper ball or a string that you have somewhere, right? So make sure you know your cat first before you start buying all these things. And this is something I see a lot of the times, is that, oh, I'm gonna buy a scratching post, I'm gonna buy a litter box, I'm gonna buy those things, but you don't know anything about the size of the litter box you need to buy. You don't know anything about the scratching post, and then you buy the first thing that you find. So make sure you once you, let's say you visit the cat, you are almost certain what cat you're gonna take home and the size, and you can ask the people in the shelter how they behave, whatever they can tell you, and then you say, okay, I need a very big litter box. I need this cat prefers an cover one instead of a uncovered one, or maybe he needs a scratching post that is vertical, or maybe I need to enrich more the horizontal. So not all of them are the same. So try to make conscious choices based on the cat's actual needs. Okay? And just so and just to say goodbye as the end of this amazing podcast episode for you, that you're going to follow and like and share with everybody, because it's very important what I'm saying. No matter how much you plan things, and no matter how you say, oh, I want this and that and whatever, and you try to put your mind into everything, embrace the uncertainty, because lives happen. Maybe you get your job, change your job, you move, you have financial struggles. During all this period that you'll live with your cat, so many things can happen. And I've seen them all, because I used to work in a shelter, and basically all of these ideas are coming from there. Maybe even you have a new partner that is allergic to cats, right? But what I want to say is that you can even plan all the things and make the right decision and everything great, but then something happens and you don't know what to do. My advice is that in every challenge, there is a solution. Even if you cannot see it, keep looking, because there is a solution. There is a point of all of that. And doing and dealing with that particular circumstance with your cat is worth the effort. It's better with your cat than without them. Okay? So thank you so much. Thank you for tuning and listening to me up until this point. If you want to know what I am or who I am, you can go to velvet.co.uk. You will find that I am a cat specialist vet, holistic, and I work with all. Most of the times I'm a second opinion vet. I deal with difficult cases and I address them with nutrition, alternative medicines, and I try to look at the best possible way we can treat your cat. It's not always just, oh, so holistic or no. No, I look individually. That's why I like what I like to do. Every single cat has their circumstances and their family, and they need to be addressed as individuals. So sometimes we're going to choose the more conventional stuff, and sometimes we're going to go to the alternative. What usually we're going to be changing is diet. Diet is really important for me to treat and to prevent. So and the emotional part that sometimes is overlooked. So that's kind of the way that I work. But if you want more information or you want to see what I'm doing, because I'm also the president of the Raw Feeding Veterinary Society for one more year, you can get, you can check my website and you will see all the things I'm doing, and I hope to bring more stuff with you. Also, I have 3 webinars on Judy Morgan's page, DrJudyU. One it's about kidney disease, the other one it's about transitioning to a different food and how to handle a cat in difficult situations, that I called it Become a Master of Cats. If any of those are what you're looking for and needing, you know where to find it. Just go to my website and you'll get everything you need. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time. Thank you. Bye.